Ever get that feeling? Like you really want to connect with people, figure out what makes them tick, or even just, get your point across so it actually lands. It's something we all crave,
Right.
right? And guess what? You guys have been asking us about just that.
And we love to dig into these things. You sent over a classic, a real foundational piece on this. Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. I mean, think about it. This book was first published back in 1936, and it's still so relevant today. It's incredible.
Isn't it wild?
Yeah.
So consider this your express lane to the core wisdom of this book. We're not about to bore you with some stuffy lecture, though. No way.
Yeah.
We're going to pull out those timeless principles, the stuff that really gets to the heart of connecting, building that rapport, making those relationships stronger. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And it's super important to be clear about what this is not. This isn't some guide to sneaky manipulation or faking sincerity. Not at all. When you get down to it, Carnegie's principles are all about empathy, genuinely understanding and valuing the other person's perspective. It's about building real connections, bridges, not walls.
Right on. Your mission, if you choose to accept it, and I think you already have by sending this in, is to walk away from this deep dive with the real meat of it, the most actionable, useful insights from this book. We want to give you the tools to be more likable, more persuasive, more confident, the whole package. You ready to unpack the first big principle?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Carnegie kicks things off with a fundamental one. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Seems pretty basic on the surface, right? What do you think? Why make this the foundation?
Yeah, at first glance, it does seem kind of obvious, but hold on. Think about how you react. When someone criticizes you, are you all like, oh, wow, you're right, I'll change everything this second? Or does it make you kind of bristle, get a little defensive?
Exactly. It's human nature to resist criticism.
That's Carnegie's whole point. Criticism almost never leads to positive change. It just puts people on guard. And the source material lays it out pretty straight. Any fool can criticize, condemn, and complain, and most fools do. Oh, that's so true. When someone feels attacked, they go into defense mode, right? Their energy goes to protecting themselves, justifying themselves, not to actually listening to your point of view. So if you're trying to influence someone or connect with them, criticism is going to backfire almost every time. It just creates resentment and pushes people away. What I find so interesting here is that it bypasses logic completely and goes straight to those emotional defenses.
So true. So instead of zeroing in on what someone did wrong, the source wants us to try and understand why they might have acted that way, even if we don't agree with it. It's a real shift, going from judging to empathizing, trying to see things from their side, realizing that their reality might be different from ours.
Exactly. And you know what? This leads us beautifully into principle number 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. It's the perfect antidote to criticism.
100%. If criticism tears relationships down, genuine appreciation builds them right back up. Our source is really big on this core human need, this need to feel seen and appreciated for who we are. When someone feels genuinely recognized for their efforts or qualities, you build trust almost instantly. Have you noticed that? How a simple, sincere compliment can totally change the energy of a conversation.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. But the key word here is genuine. Carnegie wasn't saying we should go around buttering people up with fake praise. People see right through that. It has to be real. And here's the other thing, it has to be specific. Instead of a general good job, try something like, I really appreciated how you handled that tough question in the meeting. It could have gone sideways, but you stayed so calm and thoughtful, and it made a huge difference. That carries so much more weight because it focuses on a specific action and its positive impact. It shows you were really paying attention.
That's it. The detail is what makes it real. It proves you've noticed something genuinely good. And it all comes down to looking for the best in others and putting it into words in a way that means something. It seems so basic, but it can have such a powerful effect on a relationship.
It really can. And this feeds directly into the next principle, number 3. Become genuinely interested in other people. This one really flips the script, takes the focus off our own needs, and puts it on the other person.
This is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
The whole idea that to be interesting to others, you got to be interested in them first. The source has some practical tips for this. Asking thoughtful questions, making the effort to remember people's names, we'll come back to that later, and something as simple as smiling more. But the big one is consciously making yourself listen more than you talk. It's all about making the other person the center of attention.
And what's really cool is that genuine interest isn't passive, it's active. It's not just waiting your turn to talk, it's about showing real curiosity about the other person's thoughts, feelings, experiences, what they're passionate about. The source even quotes Carnegie's golden rule for building relationships. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. It sounds so simple, but it works.
It's one of those small but mighty pieces of advice. It reminds us that people are most engaged when we talk about what matters to them. It's about making them feel heard, understood, like they matter.
Yeah.
Think about your own conversations. Who do you enjoy talking to most? Probably the people who are genuinely interested in what you have to say.
You got it. And when you make people feel that way, they're way more open to hearing your ideas and perspectives later on. Which brings us to principle number 4. Let the other person feel the idea is theirs. This one's more subtle, but it's a real game changer when it comes to influence.
It's all about ownership and buy-in. Instead of just throwing your ideas out there and expecting everyone to jump on board, you kind of nudge them towards a conclusion. The source talks about using questions, planting those seeds of thought, letting them discover the idea as if it was their own. It's more like guiding than instructing.
The psychology behind this is fascinating. People naturally value their own ideas more than ones that are forced on them. By leading them to the idea, you tap into that. They become invested in it, more likely to support it because they feel like they had a hand in creating it. It sidesteps resistance and creates this sense of collaboration. It's like the old saying, people support what they help create.
Exactly. So instead of bluntly saying, we should implement this new system, you might start by asking, what are some of the biggest roadblocks we're hitting with our workflow right now? And then, through a few more questions, you guide the conversation toward the benefits of the system you had in mind all along. They end up feeling like it was their suggestion.
Spot on. And finally, we reach principle number 5. Show respect for others' opinions. This one feels especially crucial today in a world where everyone's got such strong opinions and disagreements can escalate so fast.
No kidding. The source is very clear on this. Telling someone flat out they're wrong almost always backfires. It just triggers that same defensiveness we talked about with criticism. And let's be honest, nobody likes being told they're wrong.
Nobody. And even if you're 100% sure you're right, contradicting someone directly can shut down the whole conversation and damage the relationship. Carnegie suggests starting those conversations gently, even when you disagree. He gives this great example. I may be wrong, but it's so simple, but it can change everything.
That little phrase is like magic. It shows you're open to being wrong, and it makes the other person much more open to hearing you out. It takes the edge off potential conflict and signals that you're not coming in with this attitude of absolute certainty and judgment.
Exactly. It shows humility and a willingness to consider other viewpoints, which encourages the other person to do the same. It keeps things respectful and the conversation flowing.
Okay, so we've covered the 5 big principles from the source material. Now, the book also has some really practical takeaways, stuff you can start using right away. Let's dive into those.
Love it. The first one seems simple, but it packs a punch. Make a conscious effort to use people's names. What do you think? Why is that so powerful?
Well, the source says it best. For any person, their own name is the sweetest and most important sound in any language. It's part of who they are at their core. Using their name makes them feel seen, acknowledged, important. It's basic respect, and it creates an instant connection. Think about how it makes you feel when someone remembers and uses your name. It feels good, right? Like you matter.
Totally. It's a small detail, but it shows you're paying attention to them as a person, that you value them enough to remember that personal detail. Our second action step is just as straightforward, but we often forget. Smile more.
Ah, the universal language of kindness. The source calls it free, contagious, and disarms tension. So true. A genuine smile makes you seem more approachable, more likable, and it puts people at ease. Ever notice how a smile can de-escalate a tense situation?
It's amazing. It instantly creates this positive vibe and sends that message of warmth and good intentions without you even saying a word. It shows you're open and friendly. And our last tip for today is all about active listening. And that doesn't just mean waiting for your turn to talk. It means really focusing on what the other person is saying.
This ties back to that idea of being genuinely interested, right? It's about giving them your full attention, listening to their words, their tone of voice, their body language, trying to understand their perspective, how they're feeling, not just planning your response while they're talking.
Exactly. It's not just hearing the words, it's understanding the whole message. Paying attention to their tone, their body language, asking questions to make sure you understand them correctly, even summarizing what they've said to show you've been listening. It makes people feel truly heard and understood, which is so important for building any kind of strong relationship.
There's this great quote in the source material that really captures this whole idea. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. Let that one sink in.
That's a powerful shift in thinking, isn't it? It shows us where the real magic happens when it comes to building connections. It's about moving away from being self-centered, from trying to make ourselves interesting, and instead focusing on genuinely engaging with and understanding those around us.
And this source makes this great point about who these principles are for. It's not just for salespeople or bosses, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Students trying to figure out social situations, parents connecting with their kids, literally anyone who interacts with other people and wants those interactions to be more positive and productive. So basically all of us, right?
Absolutely. These are fundamental principles about how people think and how to communicate effectively. They go way beyond any specific situation. And you know what? The source also points out that even in today's digital world, where we do so much communicating through screens, that basic human need to connect and feel valued is more important than ever. It's almost like these principles become even more important because we have less face-to-face interaction, so we have to be more intentional about how we communicate online.
It really is timeless wisdom. Carnegie understood something essential about human nature, and that hasn't changed with technology. It reminds us that at the heart of every interaction, whether it's in person or online, there's another person. A person with their own unique needs, desires, and perspectives.
That's it. It's about recognizing that shared humanity in everyone we meet.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the heart of how to win friends and influence people, we hope you found it insightful and that it's given you some valuable shortcuts to understanding these enduring truths about human connection.
When it comes down to it, the most effective way to make friends, to influence people in a positive way, and to build those strong, lasting relationships is to genuinely care about and understand others.
So here's a thought for you. Think back to a recent interaction, maybe one that didn't go quite as well as you'd hoped. Now ask yourself, what if you had used just one of these principles, maybe active listening or giving sincere appreciation? Could it have changed the outcome? It's a powerful question to keep in mind as you go about your day.